Hi everybody, thanks for watching our Wax Removal compilation video today. This is Rhys from Audiology Associates. You can see here we've got this really mushy wax. We've got a couple of quick ones to start you off with, a slightly longer one later on there. So you can see this is really soft, lots of sort of skin and wax all mixed together here. So a nice quick removal. You'll see out this pops very, very easily with the suction tube there. There we go, just taking that away so you can have a good look at it. And then if we take a look behind that, just clearing away some of this extra debris. Now you do get these little bits of skin that will form around the outside edge of the ear canal. So basically this is where the skin should break away and come away quite easily. In some patients it doesn't, it just hangs on in there, so it doesn't break away as it should do and fall out of the ear. Now when that happens, what you get is something very similar to what you saw for this patient here, where the skin can cause a few issues on the outside edge of the ear canal, and then that can cause a few problems as far as sort of holding on to that wax is concerned. So a very small plug here, 1 centimetre, just under ½ an inch there coming away from that particular patient's ear canal. So we're on to our second patient in this compilation. Oh, now this one's a little bit different. You can see we've got this really, really deep but soft wax plug here. So sitting about 2/3 of the way down the ear canal. So quite a deep old plug. Really blocked this patient up as well. They were feeling really, really blocked up on this one side, but it looks wet, it looks mushy. So we're just gonna get a good old grip on this now with the suction tube. There we are, we've got a grip on the surface. Looks like it's just peeled one little piece away. Is it going to take anything else away with it? Nope, just that surface layer there. So let's go back in now and just have a little look at our next one. Oh, it's just starting to loosen. Now, because it's quite soft, it's sort of almost perfectly formed to that shape of the ear canal down there. So as we're pulling on this top section, because it's still stuck to all the canal walls all around the outside edge, it's not really budging. So what we're going to need to do first of all is just loosen this around a little bit. So you can see it's just starting to take that edge away where it's stuck to the canal wall here. And then that should allow us to get this out. It's also a little bit of an awkward shape ear canal. We've got this very prominent bump on the one side of the canal wall there, and that is just where this plug is formed and stuck. But there we go. So we're having to use a slightly, we can't really wiggle it down there because we don't have a lot of room, but a nice big old plug came away. When we take a look behind that, there's the eardrum there. It looks a little bit grey. You can see that kind of those not cloudy patches as such, but this sort of greying or this white colour to the eardrum, and that happens with age in a lot of our patients as well. So there's our plug, which is 2 centimetres, so about 3/4 of an inch, or just over 7/8 of an inch, so I've got to be precise. So you can see with quite a big old plug sitting a fair way down the ear canal. Yeah, patient very relieved to get that out, but really, really blocked up in that ear as well. So really struggling with their hearing on one side. So this is the last patient now in our compilation, guys. Oh, you can see here we've got a narrow ear canal, very, very narrow, and very, very hard plug here as well, very hard wax in this ear canal. So we're having to go straight in here with a fine end because the standard size ulnar tube won't actually, the ear canal won't accommodate it. And the other thing you have as well is when you put the standard size ulnar tube on the outside of a canal this narrow, it can actually collapse the canal down. So what you end up with then is the entrance to the canal collapses around the tube, and then you've got suction inside the ear canal, a perfect seal on one side, a perfect seal on the other. So you're just drawing all the air out the canal, and it's effectively going to pull the eardrum into that canal space, and you can cause barotrauma to the eardrum then. So with this one, we're opting to use the fine end here. Now, fine end is great for smaller spaces, not so great for suction. So what you have here is you can get a grip on this, but you're not going to get a really strong suction grip. So we're having to peel these little sort of thinner plates of wax out just to get this other section away here. You can see what I'm opting to do with this particular patient is trying to roll the wax. The difficulty is it's thin, but it's long, so we can't roll this over either. So I'm having to go back to wiggling this up and down to try and get this out. Now the fine end is probably just over 1 millimetre in width. It's very, very small. So I'm trying to get a grip on this outside edge. Here we are with the crocodile forceps. It's a nice thin end. Here we got it really close to the outside edge, so we can get a good grip here with the forceps. The other drawback is the forceps can sometimes, the jaws can be a little bit too wide to accommodate in here. So I'm starting to use the fine end here, almost like we would use a Jobson horn. So going over the top of the wax and pulling this down. The Jobson horn would be a little bit too wide to fit in this ear canal. So I'm using the side of the fine end here just to pull this around. But look how dark that wax is. I mean, it's old wax. You know, some patients will get this much darker wax quicker than others, but that is quite an old piece and really hardened up there. So I think we were lucky that we were able to get that out. Now, with some patients, you'll see with the ear canal entrance can be very, very narrow, but the actual ear canal itself can be a little bit wider, and that's really problematic if the wax hardens up. But a lovely, you can see the eardrum there. It's a little bit dull. There's a lack of a light reflex there as well. I know the patient does suffer a little bit with their sinuses, so you can see this sort of altered middle ear pressure in some patients as well. So here we are, you can see now we've got same, sorry, I got a really bad frog in my throat this morning. You can see it's the same story on the other ear canal as well. So having to peel this away. Now this has formed dry pieces which are really stuck to the canal wall. You can see that on this side here. So you can see I'm having to sort of go out in alter. We've got to be really careful here because we're working right against the canal wall. And as you can see, the canal walls are a little bit pink and puffy. So they are going to be a little bit more on the sensitive side here. I'm going to try and do a very similar technique to the last patient. To the patient's last ear, I should say. And you can see we're just working on this top section here. There we are. If you look just to the left-hand side underneath that wax, you'll see little white tendrils coming off the canal wall. That's actually bits of dry skin which are holding this in, which is going to complicate things even further for us because the skin will tend to hold on to a dry piece of wax as it's actually dried onto the ear canal. It looks quite crumbly, so we're going to try and do what we did last time. You can see we can just barely accommodate the crocodile forceps. My worry is here, as you can see, that it's just crumbling. And when we try and get a better grip, we're trying to go a little bit further and we can't quite do it. So I'm going to go for the Jobson horn here. We're right on the entrance to the canal. So let's see if we can just push the canal walls aside a little bit just to accommodate this, because there is a certain amount of flexibility here on the outside part of the ear canal. And we're going to get behind that plug. You can see that's mostly dry skin that came away, that whiter color. And then we go behind, I'm trying to look over the top. We're going to go behind, just get behind the next section. There we are. Mostly skin there, but you can see that darker plug that's attached to it as well. So luckily, as we're pulling this out, because the wax is quite dry, it's actually drawing the next section to the outer part of the ear canal here. So we're just taking this last little bit away. There we go. There's the eardrum, very similar to the other ear. You could see it was very dull, very grey in colour. So this is what we removed, a combination of both ears here. So this is 3 centimetres. That's 1.25 inches there. So yeah, quite a bit came out of both those ear canals. Well guys, as you know, I'm currently on leave this week, so I recorded this before I went away. I'm actually back on Wednesday of next week, so have yourself a great weekend. I'm going to rest my throat up this next week as well, and I shall see you again on Wednesday. As always guys, take care of your ears, take care of yourselves, and take care of one another, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye everyone.